Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 10, Episode 12, which was titled Peaches Be Trippin'. This episode is what I would call a filler episode. Nothing extraordinary was going on this episode. It was just really mild, like maybe, the calm before the storm comes up. So let's go ahead and get started. The show picked up at Candy's lunch party, because you guys know that there was no show the week of the Super Bowl. And as the party ended, Eva came with the shade and the tea and all of that about Will. And so it picks up with Porsha telling Cynthia, that she's heard some things about Will, that he's an opportunist who is actually known in Atlanta for dating someone else, that I guess he has a girlfriend. And she also tells Cynthia that Will told people that Cynthia is nothing, but a new opportunity for him to see what he can get out of her, and that he's really not that into her. So Cynthia breaks down, again, crying over this new revelation, and that Porsha held on to the information and didn't share it with her. So on the other side of the room, everybody's looking on, trying to figure out what's going on, what Porsha is telling Cynthia. So Kim says that, she's telling Sheree that she wish everyone would mind their own business and stay out of it, because, when her and Croy started dating, Croy was 8 years younger than her. And, people said that it wasn't a good look and it wasn't going to work out for them, but she had to follow her heart, and it turns out that it did work out for them. So Cynthia and Will end up leaving the party together. I thought that was cute. They were holding hands as they walked out to the limo. And so on the ride back home, she's telling Will, what Porsha said. And so Will was basically like, what is it that I'm trying to get out of you? Am I trying to get you to buy me a new car? Am I trying to get you to buy me a house? And so Cynthia's so silly, because she was sitting there like, I'm not going to buy you a car. I'm not going to buy you a house. And I'm like, okay, Cynthia, he trying to be funny. He don't really expect you to do that. So then he was like, basically, I don't want anything from you, Cynthia. And if I had known that I was going to have to go through all this just to be with you, I probably wouldn't even, pursue the relationship. So, child, I don't know. So, he said he don't know what he signed up for, but he's about to learn. So after Porsha dropped that bomb on Cynthia, Mama Joyce pulled her to the side and says that she wants to talk to them. And it turns out that when she said she wanted to talk, she was like the next day. So the two of them meet up for lunch. And so Mama Joyce, she tells Porsha that Candy doesn't know that they are meeting, but she wants to know if Porsha really believed the rumor about Candy wanting to drug her and take her down in the sex dungeon. And I'm like, why are we still talking about this? Porsha says that, she didn't really believe that Candy would do anything to harm her, but she did take Phaedra's word for it, because Phaedra, was very convincing, and she just couldn't believe that a lawyer, Phaedra being a lawyer and her best friend, that she would have lied about something like that or made that up. And Porsha was basically saying that she just didn't think Phaedra would be so mean-spirited to, just make up a lie like that. And so then the conversation turns to Mama Joyce's frustration, with Phaedra, and how she still, is upset that Phaedra hooked Candy up with Todd. And she was like, she knows all those lawyers, but why she gonna introduce my daughter to the help? So Mama Joyce says that the fact that Phaedra introduced Candy to Todd instead of another attorney lets her know what type of person Phaedra is. And I guess Phaedra is harboring some deep-rooted issue about Kandi. So when Porsha points out that things actually ended up for the better, because Kandi and Todd ended up getting married, now they got Ace and everything. Mama Joyce comes back and said Kandi took lemons and made lemonade out of it. I'm like, Mama Joyce, your daughter seems to be happy. Why are you still tripping about this situation? So at the end of the day, Mama Joyce, she understood Porsha's position and basically tells her that, she's got to give Kandi some time, and eventually, Kandi will get over it because she doesn't hold grudges. And so she was talking to Porsha about being loyal, and she told Porsha that her biggest downfall is that she's loyal to a fault, but she got to be careful who she's, being loyal for, because obviously Phaedra didn't appreciate it. Then we learned that Porsha has planned a vegan tasting. So she had a vegan chef come in and prepare all these different dishes, and she invited all the women over, to try the food out and everything. And so Porsha had them decorated her dining room. If y'all remember on Married to Medicine, when Mariah had that Mother's Day brunch, and so she had all those fabrics and stuff hanging from the chandelier and the ceiling and all that. So Porsha had, did that same thing, but her guests didn't see the beauty in it, because as everybody arrived, they was like, what the hell is Porsha got going on? So Porsha, Shamia, and Lauren, they were upstairs when the guests started to arrive. So Marlo was the first person to arrive, and she just complained about everything. She complained about the doormat was too small for the size of the doors. Then she was like, do the doorbell ring? Then she looked at all through the window panes and was like, and what is that? All that fabric hanging from the ceiling? What's going on? So she finally tries the door, and she comes in and she's like, hello, is anybody here? So then the cook, I guess she had brought some staff with her, so they, greeted Marlo and gave her some appetizers and was talking to her and everything. So Porsha and them still upstairs chit-chatting, putting on makeup and all of that. So then I think Sheree arrived next, I think, and then she said the same thing, like, what's going on? Why Porsha got these sheets hanging from the ceiling? I don't think she said sheets. She said, what is that hanging from the ceiling? And then Kim came in, and Kim, Croy dropped Kim off, and Kim had her red cup with her, and I'm just like, okay, is that going to be her signature thing from now on, having this stupid cup with her everywhere that she goes? So they were the only ones that accepted Porsha's invitation. Kandi, Nene, and Kenya, they all said that they weren't going to show up. So after, I think everybody was there except for Cynthia. So Porsha, she finally came downstairs and she led everybody outside. They were going to have cocktails. But Porsha had a full bar. I mean, they had wine, liquor, different kind of drinks and everything. And then she had a hookah on the table. But then Marlo said she don't do the hookah. She don't do nothing with smoke. She ain't inhaling or exhaling anything. So they were just talking, and then of course the conversation turned to the night of Kandi's party and the whole situation with Will. And then Marlo lets us know that when she met Will, that he was with a woman, that he had a girlfriend. And then I think they kind of decided that when Marlo met him, that him and Cynthia had either just met or right before Cynthia met. But they basically, want Cynthia to be happy and not be so naive. So as they're talking, Cynthia arrives to the party. Oh, when Sheree got there and saw Marlo, Marlo had this, I don't know if it was her handbag or what it was, but Sheree pointed out the fact that it was a dead animal. It was like, who comes to a vegan dinner carrying a dead animal on their arm? I was like, they are so crazy. So Cynthia comes outside and sit down, and get all comfortable and everything. So then Marlo decides that she's going to bring up the subject of Will again. And Cynthia says that the only thing that she cares about is whether or not Will is dating anybody right now. And so she admits that it got worse for her, when Porsha said that she also, knew that Will was seeing other people and that he was allegedly an opportunist. But then thankfully the chef came out and told them that they can come on inside because the food was ready. So while they are inside at the dinner table and the lady was serving the food, Porsha had these wooden plates and told them don't scratch up the plates because she was taking them back the next day to get her money back. And I'm just like, are they like balling on the budget? What's really going on? So then Cynthia decides that she's gonna tell them that she was that she saw Peter, and they tell her that they feel like her and Peter are still in love with each other, and she's still in love with Peter. So then all of a sudden Marlo starts belching. And you know how you like swallow a lot of air and then you make the belch come out and it's like really loud. So then she said that she did it to get their attention. I can't even remember what Marlo belched for that she wanted to tell him. I know she told Porsha that she had to leave in like 20 minutes because she had to go see her cousin in the nursing home or something. And Porsha told her to stop playing, that she wasn't leaving. She was going to be there for the rest of the night. But I can't remember what she was belching for. But I did think it was funny that they kept saying, "Did you burp? Did you burp?" I'm like, no, babies burp. Grown folks belch. And I can only imagine if it had been a real belch, because, like come from down here. And what the odor could have been like coming up out of Marlo's mouth. But she said she was just playing around, so hopefully it wasn't that bad. But Cynthia was kind of happy that there was an interruption because she didn't want to keep talking about Peter and Will, and she wanted them to change the subject. And she used that as the opportunity to let them know that she was planning this trip, an all-girls trip to Barcelona. Then Marlo stood up and started clinking the glass and then was telling Porsha that it was real crystal and that the Africans be taking good care of her. And Porsha said, no, I work hard for everything that I have. But Marlo wanted to know if Kim, just for once, could go on a girls trip with the African Americans. I was like, leave it to Marlo. Marlo was just there for comedic relief, because I'm telling you, if Marlo hadn't been at that party, it would have been like a really, really boring party. But Kim says that she doesn't mind going on the trip with the girls, but Croy has to come with her. And then they was like, but it's an all-girls trip, so why you got to bring Croy? And so she starts saying about she was on a flight, a 4-hour flight, and she had a medical emergency. I think she had like a blood clot in her lungs or something. But anyway, she says she wants to travel with Croy, especially being on a 10-hour flight to Barcelona, just in case she has like a health emergency. Croy will know what to do. So Cynthia says that she doesn't mind if Croy comes, but the other ladies seem to have a problem with it. So then Porsha, she was so happy that the dinner turned out nice and that there was no arguing, bickering, and fussing. So she gets up and tells the lady that the same camaraderie that they had at her party is the same camaraderie that she knows that they could have in Barcelona, and that she hopes everybody can go and that they can have a good time and laugh and get along. And we're like, okay, we're going to see how long that lasts. Oh, and then Watch What Happens Live, Porsha was one of the guests that night, Sunday night. And somebody called in and asked Porsha, why is it that you can take a 10-hour flight to Barcelona with the ladies, but when Shamil wanted you to fly to Africa for her wedding, you said that you couldn't do it because you had health issues? And Porsha said it was because Bravo pays for first class flights for them. I was like, oh Lord. But Andy didn't see the humor in that. It wasn't like he wanted that secret. Because I mean, we all know that Bravo pays for these trips. So I hope Andy don't think that we think that the ladies pay for their own trips. But he didn't seem too happy that Porsha hadn't spilled that tea. So then we move over to Cynthia. So Cynthia had lunch with Nene, talk about the Will situation. And Nene says that, she's overprotective of Cynthia and she doesn't want, to turn into a situation where Will is using her. And so Cynthia admits that she probably got too excited about Will too fast and let her guard down. So then they start discussing Peter, and Cynthia says that she and Peter are not getting back together ever again. And so Cynthia says that she may take a quick break from Will, and she wants to go to Barcelona. So she tells Nene, about the all-girls trip idea. And so Cynthia asked Nene to co-host the trip with her. So she was talking about Groupons and Airbnb, and y'all mess with them Airbnbs if y'all want to, because here in Florida they be arresting people left and right with them Airbnbs and got cameras hidden in the ceiling fans and the walls and the TVs and all kind of stuff, recording people having sex and then uploading that stuff on these amateur porn sites. So y'all better be careful. But Nene said, no, we need to stay at a 5-star hotel. We need the best, everything. But Cynthia said, no, she balling on a budget and that she'll take care of making the arrangements, I think, for like the housing and everything. But then Nene can plan the events. So Nene say she'll see what she can do. So then Cynthia kind of threw shade, saying that she wanted all the girls to come, and then asked Nene was she gonna invite her new bestie Eva to come on the trip. And so Nene said that she thinks that Eva would be a good addition to the trip and that she doesn't see an issue. But I just thought Nene and Cynthia, y'all need to just make up and hug it out and get over it, because y'all are just acting real childish. And it's taking us back to that season when Cynthia had that friendship contract for Nene to sign. Where's that contract? Can y'all pull that out and reaffirm it so y'all can get over whatever's going on? And then Nene ain't got to be bringing new people on the show to have somebody to talk to. But Nene did point out that the only person she doesn't want coming on the trip is Kim. So I don't know how that's going to work. So in another scene, we had Cynthia was meeting up with Peter, and they were at like a sushi bar or something. And so she tells him that she heard that he was at Candy's party. And of course, when she went to speak to him, he had left and didn't know what was going on. And so, she lets him know that hurt her feelings. And Peter says that, she was on a date and he didn't want to interrupt. And he also didn't want to be in the same room with her and another man. And she says that, she doesn't know if she should have introduced Will and Peter to each other. But Peter said, no, you shouldn't have introduced us because I don't want to meet no new man in your life. So he said something about Will look like her type, and then, she was like, well, what's my type? So the two of them, they got a nice little situation going on. I think that Peter is probably hitting that behind the scene, because what other reason do you need to be holding on to your ex and keeping your ex in your life? Oh, and then Cynthia, she want to talk about the whole Will situation and how, the women keep bringing her bad information, negative reports about Will. And, Peter was asking her, well, why are you getting so defensive? And was he defensive? How did he feel? And she was like, well, he was defending himself, but he really shouldn't have even been in that position. But Peter just basically told her, just be careful. You're a very trusting person, but just pay attention to what's going on and go with the flow, basically. So then we had a little short scene with Kenya, where Kenya was going on by her husband. Like, women who constantly say, my husband are so annoying. Your husband has a name. Like, she never says, me and Mark did this, or me and Mark. It's always, my husband, he feels this way, and my husband feels that way. So now she with her cousin Shay. And they at the gynecologist's office. And so she's sitting there telling Shay, because Shay was like, why do you need me at the gynecologist with you? You need me to hold your legs open? Like, what's going on? So Kenya tells Shay that her and Mark be having sex twice a day. And I'm thinking, in order to have sex twice a day, Kenya, y'all got to be in the same place at the same time. So why is it that he can be with you to be having the sex 2 times a day and to be so supportive of you and everything that you're doing, but when it comes time to go to the doctors for you to do a pregnancy test because you 6 weeks late with your period, then all of a sudden Mark ain't there. And your cousin got to be there with you. And then I thought it was even more convenient, the fact that you did the urine test, but the urine test was inconclusive. And then you had to do a blood test, but now we got to wait to get the results of the blood work. I'm like, girl. And then I also thought it was funny that the doctor had an emergency, so she couldn't be there at the appointment. But she called Kenya on the phone to tell her that this stuff. I guess that lady was like, I ain't putting my face on camera and being associated with Kenya and her nonsense. So when Kenya and her cousin left, Kenya said that she wasn't going on the trip with the ladies because she had been on 2 outings with them this season, and neither one turned out well. They were both negative, and I'm thinking, like, because you brought the negativity, and I don't really think they're gonna miss you on the trip, Kenya. As a matter of fact, if you leave the show, I don't think anybody would care. So after the doctor's appointment, she had a plane to go catch to go to New York to see her man. So it's the next day, and the ladies are preparing to go on the trip. And so Nene tells Cynthia that Kim is not coming because she doesn't want to travel without Croy. And she was like, Croy probably couldn't make the trip because he was getting... No, she said, and the real reason is probably because Croy is getting booty implants installed. I'm thinking, no, the man just got a big behind because he probably doing squats and weight. You know, they be having them big weights and then they be dipping down with like 100 pounds. Like, I'm thinking that probably would build up your booty. But Croy does have a big behind. So Cynthia tells Nene that Kenya isn't going to make it, you know, because she's spending time with her husband. And then I couldn't believe that Cynthia said she still has a Met mark. So then Candy calls and they fill her in and let her know that Kim won't make it. So in her confessional, you know, Candy was basically saying that Kim always wants to break the rules. It's an all-girls trip, no husbands allowed. And that, you know, if she wants Croy to come and Croy can't come, then she needs to stay home. Like, don't ruin the trip for everybody else by bringing your husband along. And then we had a scene with Sheree and Porsha, and they're on their way to the airport. And so Kim calls, or they call Kim to see if she was coming. And Kim confirms that, you know, she won't be going to Barcelona without Croy, and that, you know, they don't want Croy to come, then she just won't come. So Sheree says that she understands how Kim feels because there's nothing wrong with your man spoiling you, and if you have a man that's willing to drive you around to different parties and events and then wait in the car while you go inside, then I want to take him too so he can be carrying my bags and everything else in Barcelona. So that was it, guys. Like I said, it wasn't a very eventful episode. It was just like a filler to kill some time and to get back on the air. And I don't know, it just seemed I don't recall them like skipping so many weeks in past episodes. And I know Married to Medicine has already filmed their reunion. So I'm thinking that airs in a couple of weeks. So how much longer, if we're on week 12, like this is the 12th episode, even though it's been more than 12 weeks. I'm wondering, when does the Real Housewives season end? Because nothing's really going on. Like, I thought this has been a very mild and mellow season. So guys, let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Rate the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.